You're welcome to Nationwide and to the hammering, the heat and the smell of the coals, all part of the inaugural International Blacksmithing Festival, which is taking place in Monaghan town. There are 200 blacksmiths gathered here, some of them from home and others from countries like Japan, Germany, Russia and the United States. And they're all here to promote blacksmithing as a viable career, not just in Ireland, but all around the globe. This is Ireland's first international blacksmithing festival, and it's showcasing some of the world's most eminent practitioners in the field. It's being organised, as you would imagine, by the Irish Artist Blacksmiths Association, and their communication officer is Eric O'Neill. Eric, above the din, give us an overview of what's happening on this noisy weekend in Monaghan.
Okay, this is a festival of iron where blacksmiths from all around the world have converged in Monaghan to create the hive of knowledge. This is every blacksmithing community coming together and giving their interpretation of what knowledge and learning means to them. And over this weekend, 15 masters will create a panel for their interpretation of knowledge and learning.
So you will, I suppose, leave this artistic structure as a gift to Monaghan?
This is our legacy for anyone in the future that wants to see a contemporary bit of ironwork by world-renowned artists. We want to show everybody that this craft can be taken to a new level.
Do you really think that blacksmithing is viable as a career here in Ireland?
Well, I've been a construction worker for the past 20 years. I had an option in 2008, retrain or emigrate. And I was introduced to blacksmithing by watching a programme in Nationwide where I seen John Hogan.
Are you serious?
And I was fascinated by his skill, the beauty in his work. And for 20 years I buried all my steelwork in concrete. Now I create bespoke pieces of craft.
There's a good turnout here in Monaghan. I suppose it's good for the local economy as well.
Every B&B, every hotel in the area is packed to capacity. At any one time we have 60 blacksmiths participating, and overall we have 200 blacksmiths here from all over the world this weekend. And Monaghan County Council pulled out all the stops to make this event fantastic for everybody.
This festival is a veritable feast for the senses. You've got the clang of the hammer, you've got the hiss of the bellows, and you've also got the glow and the heat from the fire, which I have to tell you is very welcome on a rainy summer's day in Ireland. Now, the emphasis here at the festival is very definitely on blacksmithing as an art form, and one of the best known artists in the world, blacksmith, designer and artist, is Tom Joyce from Santa Fe. Tom, I believe you had a very early introduction to blacksmithing.
Yeah, you know, I had I was fortunate to run into a man in El Rito, New Mexico, where I was living as a teenager, and I worked with him for 3 summers from 13 to 16. And when I was 16, he offered me his business, so I quit high school and began working full-time as a blacksmith.
Now, you're well known all around the globe as an artist blacksmith. What types of pieces do you make, or do you enjoy making most?
At this moment, I'm doing primarily public art projects, large-scale forgings for museums. I do a lot of sculpture, you know, as well.
One of I suppose, the aims of this festival is to promote blacksmithing as a viable career. Do you think that's possible?
I absolutely think it's possible. You know, education is a big part of it. You know, if the public architects and other professionals that are involved in the building trades were more aware of the skill that they would find here in Ireland, I think there would be no question that the men and women who have dedicated their lives to this profession would be able to satisfy the needs of that community through exquisite design. The highest technical quality that one can find anywhere in the world is also right here in Ireland. So it's an exciting moment that I think should be seized really by the galleries, definitely by the architects, interior designers. So much potential right here.
Tom Joyce is just one of 9 world-renowned blacksmithing artists who are here in Monaghan, and the person whose task it was to get them here is Stephen Quinn. Stephen, that must have taken an awful lot of organising and planning to get these world-famous artists here.
We're about 3 months planning to get the artists over. They were very positive about coming to Ireland. They were really looking forward to the opportunity of showcasing their work in Ireland. We've run the event as a masterclass, so you get a golden opportunity as an amateur or a semi-professional or fully professional to work with one of the greatest blacksmiths on the planet, and you're learning from him. The whole theme of the event was knowledge and learning, so it goes down to even the basics of working at the anvil. You will get knowledge from working with a master. You'll be learning, he's actually learning from you as well. So that's what the whole idea of the event was. You can see there's a lot of great pieces being created here. It's a whole different spectrum on metalwork.
Your own artwork is very impressive. We were looking at it at the exhibition earlier.
Everybody in Ireland, in the Irish Artists Blacksmith Association, was asked to give up a piece or two to the gallery so we could showcase some of the work and let the masters give a reaction to the work that they've seen, which has been positive from them as well.
So for people now, Stephen, who might be watching this programme this evening and saying, I'd like to give that a go, are there training courses that they can go on?
There's courses available from the members in the Irish Artists Blacksmith Association. They're on our website and you can see who's giving courses. They're private lessons. There's no real college at the moment, but we hope to get one up and running with the help of the Crafts Council. They're very interested in helping out.
As Stephen was saying, there are some blacksmiths who are running training courses around the country. In West Cork, for instance, 2 enterprising young craftspeople have set up just such a school in the grounds of an historic working mill. And Aidan Stanley went along to visit to see how this can help in the regeneration of a very ancient but a still relevant tradition.
A beautiful spring morning on the banks of the Argadine River in West Cork, and mingled with the sounds of nature is the unfamiliar chime of metal on metal. For this is where 2 enterprising young graduates have set up an artisan forge and also a blacksmith school.
The idea came about 5 years ago. Myself and Joe weren't happy with our jobs at the time, and I had some experience with metalwork and was interested in maybe taking that forward, and Joe saw the opportunity as well and suggested that we tried it out. I suppose we were trying to distance ourselves away from the engineering, the fabrication type of work. Ours is definitely more bespoke. We're very much design-led, that we want to create pieces of beauty that will last for a lifetime. Our product is very much a non-necessity item as such, as a luxury. We were under pressure because of that. So that's how the idea for the school came about. I don't think people appreciate that how much skill is involved in blacksmithing. But that, again, that comes down to education, and it's up to us to educate people to promote what we do. This is our 4th course so far. The clientele have been very happy with what they've experienced. Some of them are only going to do it as a hobby. 1 or 2 may be serious about actually taking up themselves, which is great.
I always wanted to do a course in blacksmithing, and the reason was because my grandfather was a blacksmith. I come from a long line of blacksmiths. He was the blacksmith, the village blacksmith in Tala, when it was a village. And I can remember visiting him in the forge. He was a farrier, but he also did other work. And that was, I just felt, you know, genetically I'm predisposed to this kind of work. And actually, it does happen. When I try and think on how to do it properly, I get all mixed up, I get into knots. But when I just don't think and go at it, it works. Wanting to know more about it, I've read up a lot about it. And they were always, no matter where they were in the world, the most important people in a group or a clan, in Ireland in particular, because they made the weapons, they made the tools, and they were like magicians.
The other half of Mojo is local man Joe O'Leary, and it's on his family farm that the forge is situated. This adds a great sense of continuity to the business, since his family have been manufacturing and engineering here for hundreds of years.
Since I've been very young, I've had a big attraction to the place. My uncle, he was the last person to live here. He died in 1995. He would have been the last miller, I suppose, and I used to spend my summers down here with him. It's actually still in running order. My dad he would have been rolling oats for horses up to just a few years ago, you know, so it's probably one of the few mills in Ireland that's still actually as it was, you know. My grandfather died in 1958. He's a guy I never met, would love to have met. He finished school at the age of 12, but he was the main sort of guy working in the mill. In around 1918 they got rid of the water wheel and put in a turbine, so the whole system within the mill would have changed. Just looking through some of my granddad's old books and finding books which covered subjects that I was studying in university, you know. So this guy, he really was kind of ahead of his time, you know, and he was self-taught. I suppose I do think of him quite a bit, you know, and feel that influence.
But the mill has seen darker days. In the late 1800s, this was the scene of a famous siege, which saw Joe's ancestor, Tim Hurley, and many followers holding out against the forces of the Crown.
Tim Hurley put in new equipment in here into the mill, and the landlord, he raised the rent in, and he couldn't meet it, so he was being evicted, and there was a big siege here. They had the mill booby-trapped. Inside they had the lofts cut away, and eventually when the policemen went in, some of them fell down through the loft, and they also had stones above, pelting the police with the stones and boiling water, and you know, that was blown by a neighbour for to call help or to warn the rest of the neighbours that there was a siege on, you know, and it was lying in a cow shed for 80 or 100 years, and it ended up back here anyway in the mill again.
Some blacksmiths of the future there perhaps in West Cork. Well, back here in Monaghan town, as well as world-renowned artist blacksmiths, there are some home-based ones as well. For instance, Michael Callam and his partner Gunvor Anhoy, based in County Wicklow. I'm going to start with you, Michael. What made you get involved in blacksmithing?
I was working in glass originally, and by accident I did a short course in blacksmithing in Mayo, and that was 15 years ago, and I'm still doing it today.
And what was it about this working with hot metal that appealed to you then?
I think the possibilities of the metal when it's hot. It's like clay. So if you can imagine something with no life, dead, square piece of bar, you can put life into that bar, you can animate it and put life into it.
What kind of things do you make?
Mainly sculpture for the garden, but I've started to focus on a lot of work inside the house. So small sculptures in bronze is something I'm focusing on at the moment.
So, Gunvor, what made you want to be a blacksmith?
I have always liked creating things. I started as a kid really making things, and aside from that I also wanted to just do something practical when I finished school.
It's very physical work, Gunvor. How do you manage?
Well, it's different when you're self-employed. You can decide your jobs, I suppose, and also because I have Michael to
you get him to do the heavy
some
work.
of the hard work, and we can work together, and then so we split up the work and what we are capable of doing, you know.
There is no doubt that blacksmithing is a male-dominated craft, but Gunvor is an example of the fact that more and more women are becoming involved.